Hello and welcome to our exclusive interview with Fabrizio Romano, probably the most famous football journalist of these days. He knows everything about every upcoming transfer and he is followed by millions of people on social media. He spared some time just for this interview for Flashscore. Enjoy! Hello Fabrizio, welcome to our podcast and thanks for taking the time to chat with me.
Hello. Thank you for the invitation. It's a big pleasure for me to be here.
I have to start by asking, aren't you worried that you are going to miss an important transfer while we are speaking?
It's possible. It's very possible because everything I post and I share on my account is made by myself. So it's possible, but I hope not. I hope we will be lucky.
So you really take care of all your accounts on your own with no one helping you?
No. Everything is managed by me. I only have some help on the videos, on the editing of the videos, because I'm not good at all, and also I have no time for that. But no, for the post, everything is managed by myself. Yes.
I've always wondering how much time a day do you spend on your phone?
It depends day by day, but in some days it's really crazy. It could be also 18, 17 hours. So it's crazy. I spend my whole day with the phone, especially when the transfer market is very hot with many things happening. For example, today was very busy since early morning, and so you can never predict that. So it's very difficult to know before, but I think this is the nice side of the job, that you can never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I like it.
That must be pretty hard on your family and friends, right?
Yeah, no, my family and my friends know very well how does it work. So I'm lucky because they understood in almost 13 years how does it work for me. So they respect that, and they know that if I'm on my phone, it's not because I don't want to speak to them, but because I'm working and living my life. On the other side, it's more difficult probably when people don't know how does it work for my job. Maybe new people, new friends. When I meet someone new who is not into the football world, it's complicated to explain in a few minutes how does it work. So this is the most complicated part, but okay, it's part of my life.
Because I love sleeping, I have to ask, how many hours a day do you sleep?
Well, it depends. It really depends. As I told you, it depends on the moments. There are moments where you can sleep more than 3 hours. For example, yesterday I was busy with the news of Angel Di Maria to Benfica. It was 2 a.m. in the night when I got the news. And then 8 a.m. in the morning, I was already busy again with all the Chelsea deals. So, you can never predict that. I was sleeping like 4 hours because at the end, after the Di Maria news, I was going to sleep 2 hours later. So sometimes you sleep 3, 4, maximum 5 hours. Then during the weekend, for example, is more calm, and so you can try to sleep a bit more. But usually it's around 4, I would say, hours.
Do you even have some time for your fun? Like, I don't know, going to the zoo?
No. I can't. During the transfer window, for me, is almost impossible. So the only thing I try to do is, of course, to spend some time with my friends, to be together in the sense that we are in the same place, because then to do activities together is more complicated. But again, I'm used to that, and it's my life since I was 18. So I always wanted this. I always decided to go on this way, and so this has some positive sides and negative sides. So I'm used to that now.
Millions of fans follow you on social media around the world. So is this your dream come true?
Honestly, my dream was never about the number of followers. Also because when I started, when I was 16, 17, followers were not even a word in our world of football, in our industry. So my dream was to probably write on the biggest newspapers or maybe to appear on the biggest TV. So this was my dream, was always to try to communicate something positive to people and to do a nice job. I really like to see football fans excited when I see they are enjoying something, maybe new player joining, maybe big signing. That kind of feeling gives me something special. So honestly, I was not expecting something like that. It was my dream to do something in the world of football in positive terms, but I was never going to expect something like this in terms of numbers, of followers, and of people following what I say. So I'm still surprised with this, honestly, still today. But as I mentioned before, I like it. It's my life, and so I'm happy to try to do my best for football fans.
Fabrizio, please tell me quickly how you got to your current position. I've heard that Mauro Icardi's transfer to Inter Milan and Bruno Fernandes' transfer to Manchester United played its part in it. Am I right?
Yeah, these two transfers made a difference for me because I started a very normal career as a journalist, writing on small websites in Italy. So trying to build my own career with this kind of normal story. Then I had the opportunity to get in touch with the first agent. Again, when I started, the transfer world was completely different, was not at that level and this level. And so at that level was easier to approach players. It was almost 14 years ago. And this first agent of Mauro Icardi started to ask me for maybe publishing some article here in Italy about Mauro, about the possibility of him leaving Barcelona's second team and maybe joining Italian football. So I had nothing to lose. So I said, okay, let's do that. And from that moment, I created my first contact. I was not even aware of my desire of working on the transfer world, honestly. So this is something that completely changed my vision. And I started sharing updates on Mauro Icardi because then I got a good relationship with his agent at that time. And so I broke the story of Icardi joining Inter, which was a very big story in Italy when he left Sampdoria and decided to join Inter. So that one was my first big news, and was also really important to me, a part of the club, of the player, to understand that I wanted to work in the transfer world, because I wanted to work in journalism, in football journalism, but I didn't have clear yet at which point I was going to decide. Then when I got that news of Mauro, I understood that it was the case to do something in the transfer world. And then Bruno Fernandes to Man United was crucial to me, because this deal was complicated to follow. Sometimes transfer are very fast and very easy, but sometimes they're also very complicated. You have to wait and be patient and make people understand that you are not in control of the situation. I was not with the same numbers I have today, so it was also more complicated to convince people of my sources, but I spent the whole summer saying, Bruno is not going to Man United this summer. There is no agreement, while all sources were saying, okay, it's done, it's done. I was saying, no, it's not done. Then in January transfer window, I said, okay, now it's done. And all the Man United fans that were not so happy with me in the summer started to love me in winter. And this is how things changed, because then to follow that news with all the insights, the picture of the agent on the plane together with Bruno, I think that moment made the difference, to show people like we can enter into the transfer world together, and made my name a bit more international probably.
Fabrizio, okay, but I still don't understand how you have so many sources around the world.
It's possible thanks to my phone, honestly, because the first rule I always say is not to think about it. So I'm never stopping and thinking how many sources I have, what is the situation with this source or the other source. It's just live day by day. This is the secret for me. So to go on, to meet new people, to text new people, to stay in touch with the same people I was in touch 14 years ago. So it's about creating your networking on a daily basis. It's not about planning. I don't have a plan in mind that today I have to know someone from Real Madrid, Arsenal, Manchester City, or Chelsea. It's just on daily basis. If I know someone, I'm checking the news with someone. If I don't know someone, I try all my best ways to reach that person to get the information. So it's kind of domino. Every single day building the network, every single day being in touch with many people is not easy in some moments, because it's crucial to have, and for me it's really crucial to have the same kind of relationship with a small agent at the same level of a big president, for example. For me, it's absolutely the same. I'm always picking up my phone, speaking to all the sources I have, because really the biggest news I had in my life were coming from small sources, not from big sources. So this is why it's crucial in some moments to respect everyone and to wait for the right moment when you're going to get your results. So it's a long process. It's a slow process, but at the end, it's like enjoying your daily routine, because my daily routine is also to get in touch with people.
Doesn't it bother football clubs that you often publish information from behind the scenes? Are they okay with it, or does it annoy them?
It depends. Yeah, some clubs are not so happy. Some clubs are very happy. It depends. I think it's about how do you see the communication world. If you see it in a modern way, you probably understand that you have to accept that people follow transfer news on social media, not only on newspapers, on TV shows, on radio, also on this media. Of course, I respect all the media, but I think it's important to accept that people get their first hand of information on social media. And so many clubs are starting to understand that it's important to check with sources who are also strong on social media and not just with traditional sources. Then some other club prefers to be close to this kind of approach, to go with traditional approach. And honestly, I respect that. I always say that it's not about me deciding what they want to do. I always respect the strategy of the club, the strategy of the director in some cases. But I have to be honest with you, if 12 years ago it was very complicated to get in touch with sources at the clubs, now is way more open. And I think this is normal, because they can see how the fans react on social media. So they know how important it is to, of course, respect traditional media, but also to respect new media in this case.
How would you describe your role in the world of football? Are you more of a journalist or an influencer?
No, honestly, I just describe myself as a journalist. I think there is nothing more journalism than spending your day checking news and searching for news. Then I know that people feel that, okay, you are on social media very big with numbers, followers, sponsors, and these kind of things. But for me, at the end, you will have nothing if you don't have daily news, and if you are not spending your whole day on your phone, texting sources and calling people. This is journalism, in my opinion, to search for news. Of course, there are different kind of journalism, but for me, what I like is pure journalism in terms of searching for news. And this has always been my dream, to work on news more than on commenting things or maybe writing things. For me, the priority has always been to be into the jungle and catching for news every single day. So this is why, for me, my job is 100% journalism. I don't like when it's about influencer, because I think that is completely different. I just try to do a quality work around my daily journalism, but it's not about social media. For me, social media is just a way to communicate my news, but my priority is always about the news.
Nowadays, the speed of publishing information plays a big role, but I know that sometimes you prefer to wait before releasing a report. Why is that?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think it's about following the moment. In some moments, you have to be more slow because you have to be careful. For me, the important part is to be accurate. So if I know that something is 100% accurate and I can be first, I will be very fast. And so speed is going to be crucial. But if I know that something is not clear yet and I need one more check, one more call, one more message, I'm always going to take my time instead of jumping the gun and try to break a story, and then it's not the reality. For me, it's always crucial to be accurate. Then, if I can be also first on the story, of course, is the biggest desire of every transfer journalist. If not, for me, it's fine. I think it's not a race. I have a lot of respect for many other journalists who are doing an excellent job in the industry. So I don't feel bad when someone else is breaking a story. Of course, sometimes can happen that you have something, and because of 2 minutes or 2 hours, you are not first on the story. But if these 2 minutes or 2 hours are used to check something for one more time, I think this is never a bad idea, and one day you will get results of what you're doing.
With a large number of followers, you also have to deal with the huge waves of hate from fans who are not happy with the behavior of their clubs in the transfer market. How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I tell you the truth. It's easy in some moments and not easy in some other moments. In some moments, for me, it's easy because until people are joking about me not liking their club or me not liking that news or these kind of things, I think this is normal. This is part of social media. When it's about humor, when it's about reacting to the news in positive or negative way, I saw many things. 1 year ago, when I said that Cucurella wanted to leave Brighton and he wanted to go to Chelsea, Brighton fans started to attack me in a crazy way for 1 week, and it was funny to me because I was 100% sure of what I was saying, so I was not scared of the situation. Now, when I share news about Brighton, maybe exclusive news on João Pedro, on Mo Dahoud, on James Milner, they are super excited. So this is football, and until we have this kind of hate in terms of humor, for me, it's fine. I don't like when it becomes something more serious. Sometimes happen that people go on social media with no face, with no name, and just put on their account with big numbers saying that Fabrizio is getting money from the agent, from the club, from the player, from the family, from the president. This is something that I don't accept, and I will never accept, because I know that I'm working 20 hours per day. I'm living a dream, because journalism in this sense is a very big dream for me, but it's also hard work, because you need to hard work to get this kind of results. And so I can't respect someone not putting their face, not having any proof, not putting their name, going there and saying that I'm getting money from people in football, because this is unacceptable. So there is a limit. I accept humor, I accept normal hate until there is a limit. If you go over the limit, for me, it's unacceptable.
Fabrizio, tell me honestly, have you ever published false information and then regretted it?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, publishing false information is not the case. I always try to explain people that you can be wrong, but this is the beauty of the transfer market, because at the end, it's never going to be Fabrizio or any other journalist to decide for a transfer. If tomorrow a player decides to go to Real Madrid and then in the morning he changes his mind and he decides to go to another club, this is part of the game. So sometimes it's a mistake because maybe you had to wait a bit more, But in other cases, honestly, I always do the example of Leo Messi contract at Barcelona 2 years ago. Messi said many times in public interviews, in every single way, that he was in Barcelona to sign the contract. So everything was done between Barcelona and Messi. The contract was almost extended. And so I said, okay, Barcelona and Messi will go together, will continue together for the next 5 years. It was done. So Messi was there ready to sign the contracts. Then, if because of some crazy rule they change their mind and they can't proceed, this is not up to me. I think it was a mistake. Probably yes, in one sense, that it was not going through, but it's also the reality that they had an agreement. So sometimes I try to make people understand that the beauty of the transfer market is that things are changing. One day is positive, one day is negative. This is part of the game. But then the most important part, I think, is not predicting the future, but is telling people what's really going on right now, today, in this moment. This is our job.
Let's go straight to the football for a while. Which club do you think will be most active in transfers during this summer?
Good question. I think it's going to be, as always, in the Premier League. I think Chelsea will be very active because they're already working on many outgoings, and this was crucial for them. So when you sell many players, it's also obvious that they're going to attack many situations. I think they will try to go for a new goalkeeper, a new centre-back. That is probably going to be Levy Colwill returning from Brighton. So new but old centre-back for Chelsea. Then new midfielder, because they knew they need at least one more midfielder. Let's see if it's going to be two. The striker situation. So I think Chelsea will be very busy. And then, as always, Barcelona. On Barcelona, we have to follow the situation of the financial fair play, because everything depends on the financial fair play. But Barcelona are already at work in many deals, because they want to do many things. New midfielder with Gundogan, new right back, then something in attacking positions with Vitor Roque. So I think Barca will be very busy too.
From which club do you expect the biggest improvement in the next season compared to the last one?
I expect a lot from Liverpool, honestly, this season. I think the last season was really disappointing, but also a bit unlucky. Everything was not working there. It's about also the injuries. Sometimes in football you can have unlucky season. It's part of life. I think what Jurgen Klopp did at Liverpool is really special. So it's also normal to have one season with things not working in the best way. But I think next season is going to be different. McAllister is a fantastic addition to the club for a bargain fee, because it's £35 million for a player who is probably worth 60 or something around that. So an excellent one. But I'm sure that Liverpool in general, they will have different mentality this year. They will be back in Champions League next year. And so I expect a very important season from Liverpool.
Is there any non-top team that is doing very well in transfer market?
Yeah, I think there are many clubs that are maybe not that big, but are always well run. For example, in England, I think the perfect example is Brighton. I think what they're doing is really special. They have a very clear structure, clear strategy, top manager. The owner is very serious when it's time to sell the players. He's always tough in negotiations. So I think that kind of strategy is going to pay off, because also they will be in Europa League next season. But in general, I think this is not a project for 1 or 2 years. They will keep growing also in the next years. And so Brighton for sure is one I want to mention. Then I think this is going to evolve also for Borussia Dortmund. What Borussia Dortmund are doing, now they lost Jude Bellingham, but they will keep growing. They will keep investing on young talents. They have a fantastic player in Bino Gittens. So they are always ready for the next step. And I think this will continue for Borussia Dortmund. And then I'm curious to see what's going to happen in other countries, including in Italy, because, of course, I'm Italian, so I always keep a close eye to Italian football. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen next season at many clubs, especially at Juventus. We expect a big change from Juventus, because the season was really disappointing, not at Juventus level. They have many good young players, but this summer is going to be crucial for them.
I have to ask you about Saudi Arabia, where a lot of good players are moving to now. Is it a short-term project, or do you think it could be a long-term?
No, I think they will keep going. And the intention is to keep going, is to insist, is to do something way different than China a few years ago. Their idea is to bring there many top players, not just maybe 5, 6 or 7. I think they will keep going in the next weeks and months and years. So this is getting very serious for Saudi clubs. And also they are investing big money in terms of fee, not just in terms of salary. And this is a message that they want to do things well, and they want to keep going in the next years. Also, I think what Cristiano Ronaldo is showing is, again, that he's been incredible in the vision. When Cristiano joined Saudi in January, all people called him like crazy, retired, and these kind of things. But then the reality is that now many important players, including the Ballon d'Or, a fantastic player like Kanté, and many others in the next weeks will keep going to Saudi, and many others will arrive next year. So I think it's very clear that they have a project there. Then we have to see how that will be. But for sure, they are very serious. They have big money, and they don't have an intention to stop.
Fabrizio, since this interview is for Flashscore, tell me, do you use Flashscore on your mobile phone?
Of course I do. Of course I do. For me, following football is always crucial. So it's not just about the news, but to follow what's going on in football, the results and all these kind of things is really important to me. So of course I am using, and I will keep using, because for me it's really, really important to be always in control of the situation.
You recently turned 30. How many years can you do this job?
Good question. I don't know. Honestly, at this moment, I don't know. I think it's not going to be super long. I think it's like for the players. At some point, you have to understand that is your moment to say stop and to retire. I don't see that moment close yet, but I think that it will happen in the next years. It's not going to be forever or for 20 or 30 years, also because the world is changing. And so I don't know at the moment, but we will see.
There are so many people around the world that would like to be a football insider like you are. Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, it's about hard work, honestly. I think now with social media, there are many opportunities, really many, more than when I started. When I started, it was a really closed market. Now there is a lot of possibilities on social media to approach people, to text people, to create opportunities, to show your talent. It's about hard working. I think this is the most difficult part now, because it's like for the football players, again, it's very easy in modern world when you're starting to achieve something to relax. I think the crucial part is to push every single day, to try to get in touch with new people, to try to create a network. And again, social media are now giving a big opportunity, because you go on Instagram and you can easily see who is the owner of an agency, or maybe who is working in a club. And it's not just about the big agent or the big player. I started having my contacts in the third division in Serie A, in Italy, in Serie C, in Italy, in second division also. And now these people are around the world, maybe working for, I don't know, Arsenal, Inter, Milan, Atletico Madrid, because it always starts from the bottom. So this is why they have many opportunities, and I think the way is very open. So it's just about hard work.
Fabrizio, thank you for a great interview and for being a guest on our podcast.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, and big hug to all the friends of Flashscore. Ciao.